Hi, my name is M. Kareem Radcliffe. What I'm about to share with you is a book that I've started writing. It's called Sins of the Father with a question mark. Like, are these truly sins of the Father? Um, this is an introduction, and what this book mainly discusses is we as black men within the black community and often others who have fathered children out of wedlock and for one reason or another strayed away from the quote unquote upbringing of that child are looked upon as deadbeat dads. Uh, in this chapter, I plan to take a look at the varying reasons men abandon their children and try to show just cause in some situations, and therefore try to exonerate some of us of the errors and pain on missing out on a special part of our children's lives. Not only in our communities, but others as well. I speak from experience and know the hurt, anger, and pain of facing our grown children one day and having to answer that inevitable question. Why? Why, Dad? We have to also look at the fact that we men aren't entirely to blame, yet we take all the blame. The women we choose and the reasons why they bear these children are a factor also. My intention here is not to shift the blame from us onto them, but rather to show the many elements involved in our decision to so-called run. And this is chapter 1, and as I've stated in my introduction, there are varying reasons for a child to grow up without his or her father. The following scenario I'm about to give is based on a real situation. A young man and his girl or woman, you choose, are living together with the hopes of one day being married. They have an infant daughter. They begin to encounter problems due to her family. He's not good enough for her in their opinion. Also, he's American and she's from Guyana. The family considers him a Yankee, an outsider. The couple begins to argue, so the problems escalate, and the family eventually tells her, it's him or us. So one day he leaves for work to pick up his paycheck with the promise of taking her out to dinner when he gets back. The young man comes home to find his girlfriend and his daughter gone. He waits, they don't show. He makes phone calls, no one has seen her. He contacts her family, they disavow all knowledge of her whereabouts. He worries, he searches, knowing deep down in his heart they're gone. He's the one who's been abandoned. Your child was 9 months old, not old enough to even get a sense of who or what a father is. The family had finally convinced her to leave him. With all this searching and crying and worrying, 18 years have gone by and he still hasn't seen or heard from woman or child again. Is this man at fault for his child not knowing him or loving him? In this case, the woman wasn't strong enough or mature enough to stay and discuss the problems and issues, or to tell her family what a good man he was and to simply just fuck off. Who knows what will be placed in that child's head in regards to why her father wasn't in her life. Now, what happens when that child reaches adulthood and seeks out her father? Who do you think that she'll fault? I have encountered many situations whereas if the father who has mistakenly fathered a child and decides he's not ready to settle down or even be a father, that child is being constantly pushed his way. Here's another situation in which a father who loves and wants his child and to be in that child's life every moment of every day, to provide and protect, yet the relationship between that man and woman is troubled and unstable. The man, in the best interest of his child, decides it's best for them to separate. This woman becomes vindictive and refuses to allow this man to continue to be a part of his child's life. In both the above scenarios, is it the child who loses out? Most often, a child is abandoned because of what went on between the parents. Yet, it's always a man who is questioned and scrutinized in regards to his parental obligations and responsibilities. Now, fatherhood to me is a precious and valuable thing. Once we throw away that priceless opportunity to watch our children grow, to educate them, or take part in their happiness, pains, disappointment, and successes, then we are the ultimate losers, not them. So many nights I couldn't sleep, thinking of the times I missed with my children. I grew up in my teens without a father. without acceptance of me as a child, as his child. I needed him and wanted him in my life so much it hurt. Yet instead of growing up to become a better father, I also gave up. Because of screwed up relationships, I started feeling sorry for myself. Instead of always thinking of myself, I should have taken care of my responsibilities as a father. And for this, I have no excuse. And that's the sad part. So in years to come, I have subconsciously lived with the fear of one day having to face my children or adults and have to explain my so-called actions. Now, a main factor in the problems that arise within our community is we as black men, good, productive black men, meet many of our sisters and women in general who've been burnt and scarred by bad men, women beaters and cheaters, men who degrade our women mentally and physically, oftentimes scarring these women for life subconsciously and as well as consciously. Now, a man comes along willing to love these women and treat them as they should be treated, with love and respect and honesty, offering faithfulness and compassion. But many of the women are so badly scarred, it now just puts them on the alert for something that isn't. They now start treating the good men the way they themselves were treated. Now, why should these men bear the result of something they had no part in? Why? Instead of enjoying a successful and loving relationship, they find themselves having to mend that woman's ego, constantly having to reinforce their every insecurity, which after a while becomes hard work, and sometimes much too high a price to pay for happiness. Instead of that woman relishing the fact that they have finally found a good, caring man, they treat his every loving gesture and sincere motive with suspicion. For instance, a man comes home from being out, brings his woman a bouquet of flowers. She instantly suspects an ulterior motive. Is he on a guilt trip? Is he seeing someone else? Or maybe he slept with someone and now out of guilt is trying to make amends. Ladies, why couldn't the reason just simply be that he loves you and wants to show his appreciation? Plain and simple. No motives or schemes involved. Now, initial studies that I've compounded within my own environment and through various and diversified men that I've questioned found that this mistrust and anger towards us as dishonest men also extends towards fatherhood. In a lot of situations I've noted, men who have claimed that kid ain't mine, or men who've simply walked out on women because they simply got pregnant. Now, men who have outright denied and shirked responsibility. These women constantly force that child upon these individuals, demanding support, etc. Yet, when a good man who cares for his child deeply falls out of love or just cannot get along with his woman, but still continues to love and support his child in every way, then this very same woman tells this man, go ahead and leave, motherfucker. You'll never see your child again. Now, this man who wants and loves his child has to go through hell to see his child. Why? Because now the woman has taken the matter beyond the welfare of the child itself. Now she becomes vindictive and uses the child. She becomes vindictive and uses the child as a tool, a weapon to hurt the man who she feels simply has hurt her. In this particular situation, the father has no choice but to suffer the anger and revenge of a woman now scorned. Thus, the child is reared, hearing and being taught that its father was no good, or that the child itself wasn't wanted by this man in question. Now, this concludes part 1. I will see you again, and we will continue this. Until that time, this is Sins of the Father, and this is M. Kareem Ratcliffe saying, respect your children, respect your family, respect everyone around you. Until next time.